I love being a mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Has taught me that I have way more patience than I ever thought I did.
Yeah, it's taught you more patience, or made you realize you have more patience?
It made me realize I have more patience than I thought I ever could or did or would.
You do. You know,
my small story is I'm a writer, radio personality, an actress, you know, with dreams of writing movies and screenplays and producing films where I can put people that look like me into my films and create opportunities for diversified audiences to people of color, and also being in some of those films and doing that. That is the ultimate dream and the ultimate goal. And then when I'm all said and done, I'm gonna go back and be a teacher.
How do you look? Last question then. Okay, I guess 2010. How's the year working out for you? Is it going in the direction you wanted to go in?
I love 2010. I love it. You know, 2009 marked 10 years I have been on the radio in New York City, from WHCR to Power 105 to Hot 97 to 98.7 Kiss FM. I ended working with D.L. Hughley, a part of his morning show, the D.L. Hughley Morning Show, after running the Kiss Morning Show for several years, and not being on air and finally being free to refocus and reorganize my life and remember what my goals were. You know, I like to tell people my head had been up in the airwaves and making all this loot, making all this money, you know, and just getting up at 4 o'clock every morning and going to work and doing this, and that was my life, you know, coming home and trying to be mom and this. And with 2010, I've kind of remembered what I wanted to do. Remembered that I had achieved my radio goals a long time ago on Hot 97, and now I'm free and I'm writing, you know, and I'm blogging. You can check my blog, my WordPress blog, RaqiyahMays.wordpress.com, and I love 2010. Really happy.
That's awesome. Yeah. The blogging thing, did you just get into it, or you always thought it was big, or?
No,
it's a good way for people to get their word out. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I wasn't big on blogging.
Because you were doing radio before, you're a magazine traditional way, which is a traditional blog.
In a way, it is a traditional blog, but not being on air and you know, and having these fans, people emailing me, and you know, people know me. I'm a personality. I have an opinion. I have a voice. I like to inform people. You know, I like to talk about political things. You know, but I can wax poetic on sports and entertainment and things like that. I want to talk. I want to stimulate minds and evoke emotion. And not being on air, I didn't have that anymore. So to get those thoughts out, people were like, "Oh, you're starting to talk too much." I said, "Oh God." So I've always been a talker, but that's because I got all this talk inside of me. So I created a blog.
Talk with education is a great thing.
Yeah, and I enjoy it. You know, I like intellectual conversation. So I began a blog. I call it the Rock Chronicles. Assorted things, the rocky things that go on in the world by me. You know, Raqiyah Mays, and that's been a way for me to speak, aside from Facebook, and you've seen some of my conversations on Facebook.
Are you surprised by the responses you get from people, or how does it make you feel? Because before you're doing radio, Facebook looked different to you, your blog was different to you. Now after you stop radio, it's about it's all about your Facebook and your blog. How do you see that relationship now? Because before you had a voice, now it's just here. It's a quieter voice.
I love it. I love it. What I love about it is I have more freedom. There are no boundaries. If I want to throw a cuss in there, I just might. You know, the feedback I've gotten and people who miss me on air are still there. They've come online. Everybody and everything.
That's how I noticed.
Is on Facebook. You know, I now have. It's growing. I have on my social network, on Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, like 12,000, and I'm creating this team because I don't have time. I have all these friend requests. I have in my inbox 900 friend requests, and I don't have time. I'm doing it by myself. Let me do 10 a day. That's 900. So I'm trying to get back to everybody, and I like to be one-on-one. So that feels good. Being a woman in New York City, or anywhere,
whether it's dating or trying to make your life come true. Anywhere.
Being in New York, I think New York for a young woman, for a young businesswoman, is great for single people, single women. I think I don't buy into the whole thing that it's hard to find a man. I mean, I understand what the statistics are, but before I was married. I've never had a problem getting a man. You know, when you're married, it's nice to turn heads. You know, so I don't buy into that. I think if for the women that have a hard time, I think they need to revisit themselves and their mental and their emotional. Therapy is there. I'm very big on therapy, huge on therapy, and I think we as black people need that. I call it post-traumatic stress syndrome from slavery, abandonment issues that are so deep that we need to deal with those things so we don't get to these relationships where these men continually leave us. But to be in New York, I love it. You know, I think the best place to meet people is on a train.
Yeah.
You know, I met my husband on a train. I met quite a few boyfriends on the train.
That's probably true, yeah.
Yeah,
and when, you know, I always believe the people that you date, you didn't know you were going to be dating them when you met them.
Right.
So why worry about the next person you're going to meet, because people you met before, they just came into your life. So there's no reason to be worried about something you really, when you think about your history, no one's having control of who you met.
You have no control, and when you look, you don't find.
Yeah, you just gotta
wait and put that energy out there, and not that I know you had a hard day.
Yeah.
I know you had, maybe that's not the day you're gonna find a man, but you got to. Some sisters have got to practice the pleasant smile.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you need to walk down the street grinning, because then you'll look crazy. But there is a pleasant face, a positioning of the mouth that you can have. That Khalil is my stepson, and Khalil and I have a very unique relationship. You know, he calls me Kia, which is fine with me, and we've always said that was. What'd you say, baby? I can't hear you. Come here. Come here.
I like calling me Kia.
Yeah, he likes calling me Kia, and that's fine. You know, when Khalil was a baby, his mom lost custody because he went to foster care.
Yep.
And when that happened, you know, my husband had to really fight to get him out of the system. You know, it wasn't enough for him to come forward and say, "This is my son."
Yeah.
You know, like a mom could do. The system is really hard on dads.
Anything you've learned? Anything you share?
The advice that I would give folks is one, just believe in yourself. Don't let anybody tell you you can't do it. Being an entrepreneur and working for yourself is difficult.
Yeah.
But you have to have a dream, and you have to focus on your dream, to manifest that dream. You have to write it down. You have to believe in it. You have to, when you start getting that insecurity and that money is calling your name, or that job that you know you won't be happy at is calling your name, you got to stay focused on what you want to do and do it. And being an entrepreneur is discipline.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you have the freedom to set your own hours and you can work in your pajamas and your slippers. You can get lazy, but you got to get up. That's your job. You got to get up. You got to set that alarm clock. You got to get to work. You got to do what you need to do and make it happen, and go out at night and handle your business. So yeah, I say belief, faith, and focus. I'm really big on faith.